I'll call the meeting to order. Well, ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mayor Patricelli.
Present.
Councilman Torricello.
Present.
Councilwoman Dunn.
Present.
All right, I'll ask everybody to please stand and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. I'll ask to have the minutes of the previous meeting read, please.
Mayor, I will make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of the February 24th meeting.
And I will second that.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Dunn.
In favor?
Councilman Torricello.
In favor.
Mayor Patricelli.
In favor. Okay. What we'll do is we'll ask. We don't have a general manager's report, or
Sure, I could actually bring you up to date as to what we're doing with the filtration plant. We talked a little bit last week, and we had a presentation by Dave Dressel, who oversees our water plant, and we talked about the THMs in that area of the city, which is Hillside and Fenimore Trace and Highland. We met with the Oxum, it's IXOM water care company. They're the ones that we purchased. If you remember taking a trip out to the reservoir, those filtration systems are called solar bees. They're powered by solar, but yet what they do is they aerate the water. We met with them and talked about that system. We discussed treatment, agitation, circulation, aeration, filtration, all different ways to go about moving the water so the THMs don't actually get a chance to solidify within the water. And Dave gave them all the historic numbers that got us here to this point. We're looking at filtration systems with potential charcoal. And he's going to come back hopefully within a couple of weeks as to a way to go forward. Final I guess I should say one of the last sources would be is throughout the city before, as we come down from the water filtration plant and then it fingers out throughout the different areas, there would be areas for potential filtration there in each little area. Again, charcoal and some other ones, not to chemically treat, but that would be another way we're looking at it. So, you know, best guess estimate, I asked him what kind of numbers we're talking about. It could potentially be anywhere on the lowest side, which is the simplest of all sides, of about 10,000 up to about 250,000, depending on where we go. He didn't want to get, you know, solid on a specific number until we actually put all the numbers and then figure out the best guess, or not the best guess, the best situation for us to go forward.
Good.
So I just wanted to let you know that we're on top of it. We're trying to stay forward.
Yeah, thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
That's it? Okay. All right, we'll go into old business, please.
Your Honor, there is no old business on this evening's agenda.
All right, then we'll move into new business.
Your Honor, the first order of business for new business this evening is a call for public hearings for March 24th, 2022 for repair reserve.
All right, you want to explain it first and we'll open up the public hearing?
Oh, we're not opening a public hearing yet, just calling for one.
Oh, this is the call for it. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So we have a few issues within City Hall and within the city. Locks on the doors on the first floor. The 19th Street light in front of Dunkin' Donuts and the Hudson Shores Park light need to be repaired. And these were items that were not budgeted for. And we are proposing to use the repair reserve as it's really early in the year to spend these large amounts of money out of our regular budget. And at the end of the year, if we don't end up needing to use it, then I will move the funds, right? But yeah.
Okay.
How much money are we looking at?
I don't know how much the 19th Street light is going to
Oh,
cost
we
yet.
talked about that. The
Right.
locks on the door.
That's about $8,000, and the Hudson Shores Park is also about $8,000.
All right, thank you. All right, next, please.
The next is resolution number 20 for 2022. This is a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Watervliet and Weston and Sampson, PELS-LAPC, regarding the lead water service line replacement project, task order number 231.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion, we move on resolution number 20 for 2022.
And I will second it.
So this is a resolution for the hiring of Weston and Sampson. It's a change order to the master agreement that we have with them. It's specific to Phase 2 of the lead line replacement, service replacement. They will be doing design specifications, so each home that the company comes in to repair will have a specific specification as to how the water service goes in, how we close up the hole. They'll be doing inspections for us. They'll be doing the bid process when it goes out as we select a company, a construction company to do the work, and follow us right through closing and billing right through the state for it.
Now, the residents have to submit an application for that?
Yes.
Heather, or did we get a lot, or?
We got,
17?
there's approximately $250,000 left. We got 17 applications in it. As we started going out to the houses, one gentleman actually did his, so we have 16.
Okay.
And then we found one other home that actually has galvanized, which is allowable, but we think they have, and that's from the curb box into the home.
Mhm.
And the curb box to the main, we think, is lead. But the unfortunate thing with that is based on the program, the applicant has to show us that service in order. So they got to come in, have someone dig it,
Oh,
and show us. So, but right now we have 16 that are on the process, or in the
Good.
process.
okay. Thank you.
And then we're hoping.
How much of that money will 16 eat up?
We don't know. We think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
We have a priority list based on, the program says anything 6 years and under,
Yeah.
to that age of 6. And then we have 3 homes that are on one service line, which the city wants to separate under this program. And then after that, we start to go. So once we go out to bid, we'll go out for individualized homes. Then we have an aggregated amount to go towards, and then we could actually fit that in. If there's a change order on one and it takes away, then we'll know how much money we got. If there's monies left over, we know of one gentleman who came to us who didn't apply. Unfortunately, we don't know why, but he came to us with a similar problem that said he knew he had galvanized to a certain area and we would change that out if there's any funding, but we would do it through an application process again. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? If not, we'll call a roll.
Councilwoman Dunn,
In favor?
Councilman Torricella,
In favor?
Mayor Patricella.
In favor?
Resolution number 21 for 2022 is a resolution approving 2 agreements for professional services with Catalog and Commerce Solutions Limited Liability Company for development and maintenance support of a civil service database and portal system.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on resolution number 21 for 2022.
And I will second that.
So this resolution here is actually for a software system, which will cover Watervliet Housing Authority, City of Watervliet Administration, and the various departments, and also the Watervliet school system. We're going to computerize our civil service process, and that would be with the equipment and software system for $29,750. And then the monthly or the annualized maintenance fee for any upgrades or work that they do is $5,700 up to $6,700 over a 10-year period. We also, through education law, we can get a portion of this money through the school system that they will pay for the efforts, as well as the support person that we have, Carol Radigan, as our civil service secretary, will get re-included for that component of it.
So the school's going to chip in. How about the housing authority?
No, Housing Authority cannot, right, correct?
So the civil service law specifically says that the school district has to contribute toward the cost of civil service, but not the housing authority. There's no such similar language.
Okay.
Sounds good? Yeah.
And I've already talked to the superintendent about it, giving him a kind of a heads up. He understands. So,
I'll just point out it is woefully needed.
Oh, yeah.
It really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good, good, yeah.
No, that's good.
okay, good. All right. If there's nothing else, call a roll.
Councilwoman Dunning,
In favor?
Councilman Torncello,
In favor?
Mayor Patrichelli.
In favor?
Resolution number 22 for 2022 is a resolution authorizing Mayor Charles V. Petroselli to execute a conditional deed of gift regarding this donation, or regarding the donation of an MS Series gun towed anti-tank 3-inch 76 millimeter on carriage and a M60A3 tank combat full tracked 105 millimeter the United States of America.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on Resolution 22 for 2022.
And I will second it.
Ms. Courtney, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I could
Okay.
probably talk about it easier if it was. I received an email from the Army in Rhode Island, their inventory or whatever it is, asset control management group, and they were telling me about that they have these units on site, and they wanted to know whether or not we still wanted them, or else they take them back. And I'm going, geez, we had these units for, I think I saw something that said they went back to 1948. So we've had them a long time. So come to find out that they do this, supposedly be doing this annually, and there's an annual renewal, or like we have an agreement with the Army that they're loaning them to us. They're basically saying they're on loan. We can take them back, but if you want them, you keep them as long as you take care of them. So there was an issue. So I had to go there 2 or 3 times to take pictures, try and find serial numbers, because they could not track the same information that I had. I let them know that we had a tank. Go, you got a tank too? And yep, we got a tank. So we got the information down. The other thing is the gun that's right outside the cannon that's right outside
The library?
the library here at the flagpole. They not sure how to handle that, because it's not really theirs. They found it and gave it to us, but because when they were digging up 787, they found it.
The Army found it?
Well, the contractor found
Oh,
it,
okay.
gave it to the Army, brought it over to the Arsenal. The Arsenal said, I don't want it, so they gave it to the city. So basically, I think that's the story. So that's might be something down the road. So basically, all this is kind of like you said whether did we ever accept this? I would never know. I was
The impression just in reading the documents was that this was stuff probably that should have been done and perhaps was done way back when.
50 years ago.
Right.
Or
Nobody
so
could find the
smart.
paperwork. So for
Clean it up.
one of them is a current document, and the other one is effective as of 1999. So I don't know where they came up with that date. But I think the long story made short is there's just annual reporting that has to be done, and this document sets out, we're giving it to you, but you have to do this annual reporting. If you don't do the annual reporting, we're going to take it back.
Right.
Where,
is the
physically,
cannon?
where are they located physically?
At the Memorial Park.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
Both of them?
Both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't there one on, or did they take that off of there, the one that's on the Arsenal?
Yeah, well, they had the small cannon they had as, they didn't have the small cannon as ours. They had a larger cannon.
Okay.
It was a huge cannon. I'm going, that ain't ours. I don't have that. I'm looking at it. It's not ours. And he goes, well, so finally he sent me a photo of it, and I'm going, that's at the Arsenal. I go, the building is right there. It's at the Arsenal. He goes, oh, is it? I go, oh yeah, I would call them. So he was good. They were good about it and stuff like that. The one thing I did notice is that it should be a program that we kind of look at eventually to find out. The units need to be cleaned. They need to be painted. So they did give me the spec paint on it. How the color chart, so to speak, of the paint. but you have to have it done by somebody who knows what they're doing, that part. But they should be cleaned up a little bit too. The tank, you can see the tank, but it's kind of rusted. I have to go back over there, somebody can go back over there, it doesn't have to be me, but go back over there and take pictures to prove that the hatch into the tank is welded and some other parts of it is welded, even though, again, they wants to make sure that, nobody can get in and play with it,
Right.
and, whatever else like that. But that's what I was doing one afternoon when Lynn was waiting in the car, and I think it was 30-mile-an-hour wind. So, not that I'm looking for sympathy, all right? Because I don't want the sympathy, but just actually,
More wind chill.
a little bit. But yeah,
I thought we were getting a new tank.
no, we're not getting a new tank.
Okay.
Did it bring you back to the days when you
Well,
had?
I got confused when it said, are
Around.
these in Rhode Island? No, you got a phone call from a group from Rhode Island, you said.
Well,
So
it's
I-
the
for
Army.
some
It's the
reason-
Army.
yeah, the Army,
It's
yeah.
the Army base
Yeah.
in Rhode
Yeah.
Island. That's their other arsenal. Okay,
Yeah, well,
What?
sounds good.
you have a question?
Just curious, will you be getting the email every year? to
Yeah,
make sure
they're
that
supposed to
it's
do
done?
it every year.
Could we put more than one person perhaps on that email if possible?
I'll give you the whole thing. You can take the whole thing if you want to, but I just happen
But
to
you want
get
someone in
it.
addition to you
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah, just
Yeah, a
in
backup.
case.
Yeah.
I'm planning on being here for the next 28 years, so.
Me too. Me too,
It's
Ed.
kind of depressing.
I think periodically you could take an afternoon off. But
Occasionally.
Okay, very good. Any other questions?
No.
Thanks, Mayor.
Call the roll.
Councilwoman Diamond,
In favor?
Councilman Torrance,
In favor.
Mayor Patrichelli.
In favor.
Resolution number 23 for 2022 is a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Watervliet and Alta Planning and Design Incorporated regarding Hudson Shores Project 00-2022-050, work order number 3.
Mayor, I will make a motion that we move on resolution number 23 for 2022.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
And this is a,
just looking, that's all.
this is a change to, or work order number 3, I should say, off the master agreement with Alta Planning. There are 4 tasks within this fee for $66,000. It talks about project management, schematic designs, development designs of the entire park, dock concepts, and restaurant request, an RFI for the pad site that we're looking to develop for that as well. We're bringing on Alta Planning for Hudson Shores Park, and that's what this is.
Okay, but this is, no decisions have yet been made about what it's going to look like or where things are going, things like that. We're hiring them to create a design.
Yes, correct. But now if you take it back one step on that, Peter, we have, based on the contract, we've yet to see, or when you look through the file, there's never been a committee formed, and there's never been public hearings, public
Right.
meetings, and those type of things. So that's why the consultant is going to be doing the work
Okay.
to start advancing the plans to that level.
Okay.
But we have already had a meeting where they sent, remember they sent the.
Yeah,
We had the-
there were a few options and
Right,
things like that, but I
yes,
don't think
we're
but I don't think no final determination has been made about what exactly is going to go down there.
No, I think
and
we
where.
were, I think we were looking at saying we kind of
Yeah.
felt that one option, I forget which one it was.
Yeah, right.
That we liked that one better than the other two
Correct.
that she had proposed.
Correct, and that option just has gone down to the Department of State, now that it's finalized internally.
All right.
That just went down this past week with it down to Lisa at Department of State. So she set up a meeting that Lindsay and I will go down and present to that, to the group to see if some of the, like the amphitheater, we know the ones that are way outside the boundary of
Sure.
funding, can actually be replaced with some of the stuff we're trying to do now.
Got it. And I know I'm off the topic, but remember that at one point there was discussion of the tunnel under 787? And
Yes.
that wasn't approved?
That wasn't approved through the consolidated funding application, and then we went with the TEP, the Transportational Improvement Program.
And what's the
That-
status of that?
We were supposed to hear back end of December, and I need to call DOT to see where that is.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. But that's separate, that's a separate issue from what we're talking about here.
separate and distinct. That program, that tunnel was part of the
Bridge
Congress
study.
Street Bridge study.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right, I'm getting them.
A lot of
Getting the
studies
foot-
going
But
on.
Alta was doing that, those plans too.
They
Yes.
were doing that as
They were
well,
doing
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
July.
I started getting them confused. Okay, thank you, yeah, good,
Okay,
great.
Yep, all set.
okay. Anything else? Call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Donovan,
In favor?
Councilman
In
Twenzello,
favor?
Mayor Patrichelli.
In favor.
Resolution number 24 for 2022 is a resolution approving an agreement for fleet tracking software with Smart Planet Software LLC and authorizing Mayor Charles B. Patrichelli to execute same.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we move on resolution number 24 for 2022.
And I will second it.
Okay. This is software that, one of the things I had asked for was some kind of a software to kind of track it was plows, but initially it was started off with the sweeper. So that this would be a public tracking, not so much an internal tracking, but a public tracking. So if anybody wanted to know, oh, is the sweeper out today, and where is it, they can do it, because that's basically how we're trying to develop, let's say a partnership with the residents to make sure that they're aware of where the plows are, where the sweeper is, so that they can, maybe possibly move their cars and not be surprised and say, oh, I just heard the sweeper go by, it's too late, because he ain't coming back.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things.
Yeah, I credit the mayor for this. But one of the things is that the police department is actually using their tracking system for their cars under Verizon. We're hiring Verizon in the same methodology and how they're using it. They already have the grid of the city in their system. And now Snowpass, who works with Verizon for other municipalities, will do this. And there's certain different layers we can add on, one being the sweeper, as the mayor mentioned. We could add our garbage routes on it. We could do, if we get very sophisticated, you could do it on lawn mowing and those type of things. But one of the things we asked when we saw that the potential is, and you look at return on investment of what you do when you start to do projects, they could actually do a grid of our reservoir. And then at that point, when we put this tracking system on the We Do boat, we'll be able to see progression of the removal of the water chestnuts as well. So that's one of the things I'm excited about with this program. We can start really seeing the work that we're doing, and we could use that to report to the state as well.
Police are happy with the performance of the software that they have?
You haven't heard anything negative about it. You can set up a grid too when it comes to each individual truck, when it comes to like a plowing route, and you'll know if it breaks down, because it'll shut off. If it goes outside the grid, and then you can figure out why. So it's got some sophistication to it.
Are you going to have more information than the public? Access to more information than the public?
Well, what we're going to do, so we'll be able to see it in real time. The public actually sees it in like a 30-minute delay. They don't, for some safety purposes, they don't want to put something
Yeah.
out there in the real time.
Yeah.
So it's going to be more of, it'll refresh itself every so often, but it'll be still like a 30-minute delay.
Will you know where all your trucks are?
We will know where all our trucks are. Yes. And if a truck's not moving, if it's a seasonal component like the sweeper, you're not being charged for that. So you don't have to pay that monthly fee each and every time. So it's really when the truck is moving and in service.
Good. Yeah, thank you.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Nope, all set.
Councilwoman Donovan,
In favor?
Councilman Twenzello,
In favor.
Mayor Patrichelli.
In favor.
Your Honor, that concludes the new business on this evening's agenda.
And I'm assuming there's nothing under appropriations accounting, seeing it was the first part of the,
That's
that was fine. All right. There's, Joe, do you want to bring us up to date on the, maybe just a brief on the snow plowing and our discussion with the police meeting that we had?
Yeah, okay. So we had the last two storms that we had a meeting with police and DPW, the supervisor of DPW, and we tried to articulate, the mayor and I, as to a process, what we wanted to see, And I think the chief got involved a little bit more in this storm, maybe than he had in the past or saw in the past. And he understood our frustration about how, the idle time. There was one point in time when I was coming south on Broadway when three of our trucks were actually sitting, and when I pulled up, one peeled off. But they were sitting because the cars in front of them weren't moving, but the police were further away, so I was ringing doorbells to do that. So again, they're sitting there idle time. I think the chief saw that they could do a better job recirculating, getting back into the sweep. So people are starting to hear it all the time, and cars are continually doing our message. The horns are on, the lights are on. We had 81 people towed this past week during that storm on Friday and Saturday cleanup, and I think there's 3 left now. Right, Dave? Maybe three that are left
3 or 4.
with it. But those were kind of the points I think that came out of that meeting, is they saw that what we were trying to say, we would leave the table thinking we're clear, and unfortunately there was a little bit of a breakdown, each and every time.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was trying to get the initial notifications out there as fast as we could, where the police would precede the trucks maybe half an hour or 45 minutes beforehand, and that way that they can start that process instead of going out together and then being locked up that way. So that was one. I spent most of the day out there with them, but seeing that they had to be a little bit further ahead.
But our Nixle messages, surprisingly the numbers are fairly high with how many people have signed up for it. I know when I was sitting down, allowing people to come in and get their cars, there was a lot of frustration there. I think Amanda experienced frustration, when people were coming to pay, because everything they say, well, don't you send out a briefing, or don't you send out messages? Well, there's the Nixle line right on the window, so a lot of people signed up, I believe, at that point in time. But Thursday messages went out, Friday message went out, and Nixle went out that morning of the plowing, snow emergency. I think 4,800 are the Nixle messages. I think there was 2,100 emails or something that went out from Nixle. So it's not like we don't communicate.
Right.
It's
You changed the website, so it popped right up.
Yep.
On the
Right.
website.
That's
That
great.
was up there. The 2 other items that we talked about that we're looking into is a little bit of signage, possibly signage throughout the city. It's, like, how the little small no parking signs,
Right.
but maybe a snow emergency sign or an emergency sign or something that says, for update emergencies, doing, text so-and-so to get on the Nixle or something like that. So that maybe in certain areas that might, people might start seeing that. The other thing that we're looking into is those message signs, the message boards. That possibly we can roll out in a couple of spots in the city. As soon as we find out, we'll roll them out and then, tell them that's out there too. Because one thing that I, don't want, the thought is that plowing or towing is a moneymaker for the city. And that's the only thing I'd like to do is possibly, Amanda, asking you to kind of like come up with a number, what the income would be, but also offsetting about what the expenses would be. I know we had a considerable amount of overtime, to do that.
Just off the top of my head, we charge $300. $175 of that is right out of our hands to the tow company.
Yeah, right. But
so now we're talking $125 per car.
We have a man down there all day long. We have,
Staff
again.
inside City Hall, the police officers working overtime, the plow drivers working overtime. It's an astronomical amount. My overtime budget is crushed, quite frankly. We do not make money on tows. Anyone who
It's
thinks
120, if we're making $125 on 80 cars,
Yeah, right.
yeah.
This might be a ridiculous question.
$9,000.
Are the cars all that are towed, are they just really random streets and avenues? Or is it like 25th Street, a lot of cars get towed? Or 6th Avenue down in Fort Schuyler, that's super narrow and has a million cars on it?
Yeah, one of the interesting things we saw too, some of the photos I took of the ice storm, I compared them to the current storm,
Yep.
and you're starting to see some, I had a half a dozen, people at least that are the same,
Yep.
people doing the same things, Unfortunately, I don't know if those cars did get towed with it, to be quite honest with you, but you're starting to see some of the repeats. You could find that out. The ones I see as I start to do the north loop a lot, there's a lot of same things happening on 9th Avenue, right by the Deacon Blues area of 9th.
Okay.
You see a lot on 3rd by the 25th Street corridor all the way up to 23rd. You start to see some of the same things.
Yep.
The upper half of 4th Avenue. So you start to see a lot of areas where I think we can concentrate on in the future
Okay.
that we start to consider. And then when you go into the south side, the wonderful thing about that, I guess, is 3rd Avenue and some of the streets open up very quickly, and then they have to get into, but this past storm, I noticed the 6th Avenue side of it, just between that area of Ted's, that seemed to be one of the other holdups a little bit too this time.
Okay.
So,
I saw the list of names, and a lot of the names I did not know, so that, we don't know who they are, I mean, again, they could be new to the city itself.
That's what I was going to say, there was maybe 5 or 6 this week that came in that were from out of town and had no idea we even ran this program.
Oh,
And
okay.
their cars got towed.
yeah, but we did meet with Hank, Amanda and I met with Hank on it, and we had allocated or purchased 600 tons, I think it was, of salt, and we're at about 560 right now. So hopefully we'll get through the next couple of weeks without having to put down the balance, but we know we're up to our allotment of what we had allocated for this year.
We need to use salt on moving. It's fun.
600 tons of salt? Wow, that seems
Well,
like a
that's all.
lot.
That's a lot of salt.
Yeah,
That seems like a lot.
yeah.
Holy cow.
Okay. If there's nothing else, then what I'll do is I'll ask we'll have a public comment period.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep, yeah, I guess.
Gotta go on the record.
On record, we have a public comment period.
At this time, the council has authorized a public comment period. If you wish to address the council, we ask you to please step forward, state your name and address. You'll have 2 minutes with which to address the council.
Okay. I'll open up the comment period. If there's anybody here who would like to make a comment, please step forward and state your name and address, please. And seeing none, I'll close the comment period. Thank you.
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
Yep, just to announce that the next meeting will be March 24th instead of March 17th. They're having a thing here, so we'll have it March 24th.
And the fire and ice event last Friday was great.
That's great.
It was absolutely great.
It was good.
The
Very
snow
good.
kind of kept some people away, but that was their loss because it was great. Yeah.
Had a good time.
Yes.
Mayor, I'll make
Hard
a
work
vote.
by a lot of people.
I'll make a motion we adjourn.
And I will second it.
Okay. So roll.
Councilwoman Diamond?
Favor?
Councilman Torricello?
In favor.
Mayor Patricelli?
In favor. Thank you,
We don't want
everybody.
to dwell on that fire and ice event, do we?
It was good. It was great.
Kind of like mid-sentence. I'll make a.
I make a motion to
He was running.
Let's-
Yeah, right, that.